Darrell Porter. The name might ring a bell if you're a baseball fan, but his story is anything but the typical rise and fall athlete narrative. It's a wild ride through the seedy underbelly of fame, addiction, and raw human struggle. Strap in, because Porter's stories are insane. Imagine this: a baseball star at the peak of his career sneaking off to snort lines of cocaine in the locker room. Sounds like something out of a scandalous Hollywood movie, right? But for Darrell Porter, this was his reality. His addiction to cocaine and alcohol started as a way to cope with the pressures of professional sports and quickly spiraled into a full-blown nightmare. By the late 1970s, Porter was a wreck behind closed doors. His addiction was consuming him, turning the star catcher into a shadow of his former self. The drugs were his escape, his secret world where he didn't have to be the all-star catcher but could simply drown out the noise. The more he used, the deeper he sank into paranoia and anxiety. In 1980, Porter hit rock bottom. He publicly admitted his addiction and checked himself into rehab, a move that was virtually unheard of for athletes at the time. It was a bold and desperate attempt to reclaim his life from the grip of cocaine and alcohol. But the battle was far from over. Porter's addiction wasn't just a series of poor choices. It was a chronic disease that altered his brain chemistry, making recovery an arduous journey. Every day in rehab was a struggle against his cravings, his memories, and his habits. The withdrawal symptoms were brutal: night sweats, tremors, hallucinations. It was like his body was punishing him for daring to be sober. Yet, despite the immense physical and mental toll, Porter persisted. He attended therapy sessions, participated in group activities, and slowly began to understand the roots of his addiction. If the drugs weren't enough, Porter had another demon to face: crippling panic attacks. Imagine standing in the middle of a packed stadium, all eyes on you, and suddenly feeling like you can't breathe. Your heart races, your vision blurs, and you're convinced you're about to collapse. For Porter, this wasn't an occasional occurrence, it was a constant companion. These panic attacks were not just inconvenient, they were debilitating. There were moments when Porter felt like the world was closing in on him, that everyone in the stands was watching his every move, judging, waiting for him to fail. The pressure was immense, and the fear was real. Yet, somehow, Porter managed to keep playing. He kept catching, kept hitting, and kept pushing through the terror. It was hell he was living. Porter's battle with anxiety wasn't limited to the field. Off the field, his life was a constant struggle with fear and self-doubt. Simple tasks like driving or grocery shopping became overwhelming challenges. The anxiety would strike without warning, leaving him paralyzed in his tracks. Nights were the worst. Darkness seemed to magnify his fears. He would often lie awake, staring at the ceiling, his mind racing with thoughts of impending doom. Despite this, he continued to show up for his team, determined not to let his inner demons win. If battling panic attacks on the field seems tough, imagine doing it while high on cocaine. Yes, you heard that right. Porter often played games under the influence, a secret he kept until years later. The drugs gave him a temporary boost, a false sense of invincibility, but they also added a layer of danger to an already precarious situation. Playing while high was a double-edged sword. It was as if the cocaine sharpened his reflexes, made him hyper-aware of the ball's trajectory, the pitcher's movements, the crowd's energy, but the reality was far grimmer. The drug masked his pain and anxiety temporarily, but it also wreaked havoc on his body. His heart rate would spike, his hands would tremble, and he would sweat profusely. Each game he played under the influence was a roll of the dice, a dangerous bet against his own mortality. Beyond the drugs and panic, Porter had a collection of strange behaviors and rituals that added to his mystique. Known for his thick-lensed glasses due to severe astigmatism, he cut a distinctive figure on the field. But it was his offbeat rituals that truly set him apart. Porter had an obsessive need for order. His uniform had to be arranged just so, his equipment perfectly aligned. It was his way of creating a semblance of control in a life that often felt out of control. Off the field, his behavior could be even more erratic. He would disappear for days on end, leaving teammates and family in a state of worry and confusion. These vanishings were usually drug-fueled benders, episodes that left him physically and emotionally drained. His actions were unpredictable, his mood swings intense, making it difficult for those around him to provide support. Darrell Porter's story ends not with a grand finale, but with a tragic premature exit. On August 5, 2002, he was found dead in his car in Sugar Creek, Missouri. The coroner's report revealed he had succumbed to a cocaine overdose. At just 50 years old, Porter's life was cut short by the very demons he had fought so hard to overcome. His death was a heartbreaking reminder of the destructive power of addiction. Despite periods of sobriety and attempts to rebuild his life, the lure of cocaine proved too strong. His passing sent shockwaves through the baseball community and served as a grim warning about the dangers of untreated addiction and mental health issues. Porter's death was particularly tragic because it came at a time when he appeared to be on the path to recovery. He had been speaking openly about his struggles, offering hope and support to others facing similar battles. His sudden demise was a stark reminder of how fragile recovery can be, and how easily a single misstep can lead to catastrophic consequences. The baseball world mourned not just the loss of a great player, but the loss of a man who had shown incredible courage in the face of his demons. Darrell Porter's life was a roller coaster of triumphs and tribulations. His career spanned 17 years, from his debut with the Milwaukee Brewers in 1971 to his final game with the Texas Rangers in 1987. During this time, he played for multiple teams, including the Kansas City Royals and the St. Louis Cardinals, where he left a significant mark. Porter was a four-time All-Star, recognized in 1974, 1978, 1979, and 1980 for his exceptional skills behind the plate. His defense earned him a Gold Glove Award in 1980. Offensively, he was a powerhouse, hitting 188 home runs and amassing 826 RBIs over his career. His on-base percentage of .354 reflected his disciplined approach at the plate. One of Porter's most memorable achievements was his performance in the 1982 World Series with the Cardinals. He was named World Series MVP, hitting .286 with a home run and 5 RBIs, leading his team to victory against the Milwaukee Brewers. This was Porter at his peak, showcasing his ability to rise to the occasion and deliver under pressure. Despite these accolades, Porter never made it to the Hall of Fame. His career was undoubtedly impressive, but the shadow of his personal struggles likely influenced the voting decisions. Nevertheless, his impact on the game and his legacy as a player who battled immense personal demons cannot be understated. Porter's story is a reminder of the complexities of addiction and mental health. It highlights the need for comprehensive support systems for athletes, who often face immense pressures both on and off the field. His openness about his struggles paved the way for others to seek help, breaking the stigma around addiction in sports. Darrell Porter's life was a wild ride through the highs and lows of fame, addiction, and human struggle. His battle with cocaine and alcohol addiction, panic attacks on the field, playing while high, strange behaviors and rituals, and his tragic death paint a vivid picture of a man who achieved greatness despite overwhelming odds. His story is not just a tale of a fallen athlete, but a story of resilience, vulnerability, and the ongoing fight against demons that lurk in the shadows of success. His legacy, both as a cautionary tale and as a testament to his undeniable skill on the field, remains a powerful chapter in the history of baseball. Through his life and death, Porter continues to inspire and warn, offering lessons that transcend the sport he loved. We hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button before checking out. We'll catch you in the next inning.